I forget Fred exists for the first 10 minutes. Hello and welcome to a Linebreak Rugby podcast. I've just noticed that my sound is incredibly loud in the recording, so I'm going to slightly turn that down. You've got me, your host, Sav, and you've got Harball Stuff or Dec. You're just Dec now, really, aren't you?
I suppose so. I'm one or both.
As our resident Irishman. I want to remind basically everybody that the idea of this channel is that we get an international viewpoint from everybody. The problem being is that 3 of us at least are from England. 4 of us are from England.
Yeah, I see that as a problem too.
4 out of 9 are from England.
And how many from the UK?
And then we've got a Welshman, a Scot, an Irish. Yeah, I mean, you're not in the UK, are you? So
no,
that's
you can't count me. Come on.
And then we've got the Kiwi and Barb's as a periphery.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a spread around the world. What with our Kiwi, Australian, Irish. We just don't have a South African, but we're working on that.
We do have a Scotsman now, I see.
We do. We have a true Scotsman. So where before we had a no true Scotsman or whatever the fallacy is.
Yeah.
We now have a Scotsman.
Everybody pretending anyway.
Yeah. So right, we're going to be talking about the Six Nations, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
Because that's what's happening this week. The reason that we're focusing on having an Englishman, myself, and an Irishman, is, well, other than the fact that nobody else would answer to come on, is that the idea is that we're the 2 favourite teams, perhaps?
Yeah, I'd still put England out in front, but, relish the opportunity
the
to
Irish
try and beat
front.
England.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Is it right on St. Patrick's Day?
I think it is the day after, is it? It's the 18th, yeah.
So it's pretty damn close.
Well, let me put it this way. Anybody travelling over to Dublin for that match hopefully will be arriving on Friday, which is St. Patrick's Day. Go out on the absolute piss and then rugby the next day for round 2. I mean, couldn't be better.
I mean, I really, really wanted to get tickets for that one. I have other commitments as of now, so sadly I can't go, but it does. That is going to be the weekend, I think. If you had to pick one game of the Six Nations before it starts, if you're going to pick one game, that's the weekend that you want to go. You want to go to Dublin, and you want to watch that one.
A quick question: how would you actually go about getting tickets for Ireland? Would you go through Ireland's Ticketmaster or through the RFU? Do they have an allocation or
the RFU allocates some tickets to local clubs? And due to my sporadic travelling around the country in the past 5 years, I have connections with 3 clubs and therefore can kind of get tickets.
Yeah.
Like through any of those clubs, I could probably communicate with them and get them to get me tickets. My home team club's usually the one I go for, though, because it's the easiest.
Just the reason I'm asking there is the resale price for a lot of tickets. So again, they like the UK or even like England, it goes through the clubs here as well, and it then gets filtered down to members, and they kind of get passed on to family members and friends and so on. But so general sale doesn't really exist. It's only a small portion. But the resale price for Ireland's 2 home matches, England and France, are extortionate. I believe it's about. I've seen prices for 900, 1,000. I see some tickets on sale for about 2,000 for the England match. It's insane. I mean, it's nice to see rugby obviously being popular in Ireland, but
you want it to be open to the working class a little bit more than that.
Well, to me as well. I mean, I'd like to go to a match every now and then.
You need a fan base at the end of the day, not just corporate tickets.
Oh no, exactly. I mean, these do go through the clubs, so it's obviously hitting the rugby fans first, but a lot of corporate seats as well do exist, and especially the Six Nations, you have the corporates who don't care about the Pro 12, might turn up to European Cup semi-final or final, take the seats away from people like me and you, and they only really turn up to the Six Nations, and that's why there's high demand. Obviously Ireland beating the All Blacks for the first time ever, having a good autumn international series, beating the 3 Southern Hemisphere teams, only the second team ever to do that. Obviously, has put the Irish team on, the
it's
radar.
well and truly on the map. Yeah,
Exactly. So it's good to see, but also, the sad thing is, true fans, and I'm not saying not everybody is a true fan, but people who would go to Pro 12 and so on, that they don't really get a look in when it comes to it. But look, that's just the only reason I asked. I just curious if you'd have to fork over a couple of hundred as well, or if there was a way of...
my first year when I moved up to Scotland. First year I didn't join a rugby club, and I tried to buy tickets to the Murrayfield game, and the general sale was just gone. They didn't exist.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, that's not really helpful. For example, if you live in Edinburgh and you're not affiliated with a club, but you might be interested in going and seeing what it's all about, that would be the perfect game for you. That's the perfect advertisement for Scottish rugby. But it wasn't available. It wasn't possible.
Yeah.
And I know they're trying to work on that, and obviously get it through the clubs is a good way, because if you're affiliated with a club, you're going to watch the game. But
no, exactly.
I don't know. The general sale needs to exist as well.
So... I mean, you have to reward people who are coming through the system, who play for clubs, who dedicate their spare time to rugby as well. So you have to look after the clubs and have that incentive there. But just general sale essentially doesn't exist in Ireland as well.
It disappears very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It would just be like U2's concert coming up. that just disappeared. Within
really, is there
2
a
minutes.
U2? Are U2 still playing?
Yeah, they're coming back to Dublin.
Okay,
and that's sold out within, I believe, 3 minutes.
Really? Wow.
I think it's the Joshua Tree 30-year anniversary. So they're coming back to Dublin for it. But
Wow.
So
okay.
I mean, that's the exact same thing would happen if it goes on general sale
it's
for
just
Six
instant,
Nations.
Yeah.
So, you look at it. I think the cost for an Irish person to travel over to Edinburgh is £70 for a ticket. Then include, I don't know, let's say €150 for a flight, probably €120 for a hotel somewhere, and there you go. It's still cheaper than getting a ticket in the worst section in Lansdowne Road for France or England.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice to actually see. I went to Ireland, Canada, and the Autumn Internationals, and that was almost sold out.
That is good.
Just to show that's how kind of popular it's become since beating.
Because I do not think, say England played Fiji or England played, if England played Canada at Twickenham, I don't know if they'd sell the top tier.
Like it was, it wasn't sold out. I'd say maybe,
but it was a lot of people.
48,000 in around. I could probably check it up as I'm talking to you here. But sure, what's the fun in that? I'll just pretend I know facts. That's generally how I go
just
on these
pull
podcasts.
It out from nowhere. But no, it's a good sign, obviously, for Irish rugby. If you're filling a game, Ireland versus Canada, it's not expected to be a Grand Slam. It's not a big deal, but it is still international rugby, and you're seeing some of the best players to play the game. So.
And as well, like you have to realise, a lot of foreigners did go to the game as well, because it's really one of the only chances they have. I did bring along a German to that, so was it German? A German, a Belgian, and there was someone else as well. And then of course my girlfriend, who's Indian. So essentially, out of a group of
you were bringing
6.
bringing the diversity.
Exactly. That's what you need, more diversity. But I suppose we've become a bit off topic here anyway.
Yeah, we'll roll back to talking. We're still going to stick to Ireland, but we're going to talk about their squad.
Yes.
I'm having a look at we'll start because at the top of the list we've got hookers, right? And obviously Rory Best is putting himself out there as being the Lions pick, perhaps.
Yeah, he's
for this year, and so obviously he's the captain, starting leader for Ireland at the moment. And then behind him, which I can see being a problem in the future, you've got 2 0-cap hookers.
Yeah, there's a lot coming through the system at the moment, especially through Leinster. I mean, and Munster as well. But I mean, it's not just in hooker and the front row that we're coming up against this. What's the phrase for it? Sorry, my English is bad at the moment. Kind of.
What's the German word for it?
No, I don't know as well. What's the Dutch word? It's kind of
You're looking for depth?
no. Well, yeah, too much depth, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're kind of being how do this many people compete for one position as well, and what's going to happen, where are they going to go? I mean, look at number 10 as well. There's a lot of new names coming through there. Not just at Leinster, but Leinster alone has 4 potential fly halves.
Yeah.
And we have to somehow come to terms with that. We've lost one in Ian Madigan, and obviously not being selected for the team as well, or for the squad. Sorry. So yeah, the question is, how does Ireland also come to terms? Because you're really bringing together all provinces. So
Well, the interesting for me looking at it, Leinster, is James Tracy your starting hooker?
Not every week, but he
Not
has started.
week in, week out?
Yeah, but
what
he has
about
started.
Scannell for Munster? Is he starting? Because, I mean, those are the two. I'm just looking at it. I'm thinking, Rory Best, he puts his body on the line. Obviously, he broke his arm last time.
2013, I think.
Yeah, he broke his arm. I mean, I can't remember who you even brought on as the backup hooker in that case. But there's not a lot of experience after. If he does take a knock or sticks his head somewhere where he shouldn't, which he's very brave and may do, the depth at hooker is not there. Just in terms of experience. I mean, the caps,
yes, there is a drop off. Sorry, I see what you mean now. You were. I thought you were more so speaking to Ireland's depth there, but now you're talking more about inexperience.
It's good for your props. I'm looking at the props, and they've got
Yeah.
And one of the lowest ones, 11. I mean, Furlong is an absolute beast at the moment at props. So I mean, the fact that he's got 11 caps is not perhaps indicative of his performance, because he's going to be blowing people away, I think.
Yeah.
I was just thinking a hooker, I don't really know those names. They've got 0 and 1 cap, and it's just kind of like, what happens? What's the worst case scenario? If something goes wrong to your captain, how will Ireland rally behind 2 hookers who, well, they perhaps don't know?
I mean, Cronin's out anyway. I can't remember why Strauss isn't in. Actually, I just realised I've got a bit of a gap there. Okay. James Tracy has been doing okay at Leinster. I mean, I've got no complaints about him really. He has been performing well when he's been on. He'd come on, I'd say, quite a lot as sub. So he's got, I think, in and around 20 caps for Leinster.
Okay, so I mean, he's had some good run out, and obviously you were saying before we started recording. You're saying, was it Leinster's least amount or most amount of players in the Irish team?
Sorry, the opposite was least amount. I can remember. I mean, the lowest, I think, in the last couple of years was 16 Leinster players. Now, look, that's actually, I'm happy to see it.
It's a good sign, yeah.
Well, it means that, Leinster's got a bit more depth while everybody's off during the international window, which normally, I think, what was it, the Rugby World Cup, we lost 21 players in the end.
That's pretty brutal.
Our season ended up. Now, in fairness, we ended up top of the table, lost the final, but we had our worst performance in Europe ever. So, look, here's the hoping that this is going to benefit us in the Pro 12. But it's nice to see the balance across the other provinces as well. Connacht obviously still getting a look in. Munster having a fantastic season. The problem with a fantastic season is you lose more players.
Well, Munster have really had a very good season. Connacht have 4 players.
4, yeah. I think it's
Marmion, Halloran. Is it Gillan?
Yeah.
And where's the other one? Beelum. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, that's right. Finney Beelum.
So I mean, those are their 4, and I think the fact that they won the Pro 12, So the fact that there's only 4 coming through, and I know obviously this is one of the better mixes that have ever been for Ireland, but is there a shout for perhaps Connacht still need more players in there?
Again, I think Schmidt really goes by performance during the current season. Just looks at how the form has been, and Connacht have unfortunately had a ridiculous amount of injuries. In and around 20 to 22. I can't remember the exact number. The team essentially decimated, and having no real backup, having to pull people out of the academy and other teams as well. And Pat Lam's own son being rejected for a wild card back, unfortunately, by the RFU and Nusafora. But I think just looking at the team, the injuries and the performance, he has just picked 4. I mean, there is room for more players, but it depends on the season and the individual. But yeah,
okay.
Oh,
no, that's fair.
Good news. The Leinster team to face... Or, sorry, is that the Leinster team? No, sorry. Stupid Ultimate Rugby notifying me.
Is it giving you a note?
Yeah. Sorry,
I've given up on...
Yeah, you get all these random notifications, and normally it's just for teams, and this has actually just said, this is the quarter-final. Well, thanks, I already know that. I've known for a couple of days now, but... I mean, I think the interesting thing about the squad and the division of players throughout the provinces is more so the 3 new uncapped players. That they're all from Munster.
Scannell. We've got the hooker there, and then where was the other one? 0. Conway, yeah. Yep, on the wing.
Scannell,
so those are your 3. I mean, I'm a big fan of obviously bringing them in. They won't get game time, perhaps maybe against Italy.
Yeah, I think the whole point really is bring them into the squad, introduce them into the system, see how they perform. Obviously, they'll learn from that, even if they don't get a game.
I mean, so I'm going to keep moving now. We talked about the props briefly.
Yes.
We talked about the locks. Who would you pick as your 2 starting locks?
Toner, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'd probably go for Delan.
Would you? Okay. Yeah. Not Henderson or Ryan?
It is a difficult choice, isn't it? But, I mean...
Because I think Henderson's been playing well.
He has. But, I mean... Well, was he injured, actually, for a while this season?
Let's have a look.
I'm trying to remember, because he didn't play...
Did he not play against you?
Was in the Autumn Internationals, I don't think.
Well, that's why I think he's dropped off people's radar quite a bit. In the same way that Luke Marshall dropped off a little bit because he'd had his injury.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I think he was.
Yeah, go on.
I'm just trying to remember. Sorry, my memory is horrible at the moment. Let's just have a quick Google.
Oh, Ian Henderson comes up with a footballer, so I'm just going to immediately rage quit on searching for that.
Let's just.
I'll leave that. So so those are your 2 first picks at lock anyway, at second row, which is a strong second row. I mean, Toner is reasonably phenomenal, and you've got enough options there where it doesn't really matter who you pick as your second row. Similarly to England, the strength at second row is pretty well covered. Considering Paul O'Connell was such a titan, you've done well to replace it.
Yeah, and.
If we move on down the list to flanker, does Sean O'Brien walk back into that team?
Well, this is the worst question you could ask me, actually. Actually, anything about the back row, to be honest.
Okay.
You've just got... we're just stacked. I mean, whatever about... Now, again, I misunderstood your first question when it came to hooker. I thought you were talking about, kind of... again, I can't think of the exact word, but more of a roadblock for coming through the system. That's kind of what I thought you were speaking about, as opposed to the lack of experience insofar as no caps.
Okay.
Or 1 cap, sorry. So looking at back row, this is where it's most pertinent. Really, is just there are too many good options. Like you can just close your eyes and point at a name, really, and 3 names, sorry, and it'll probably work well together. Number 8, you'd be looking at Stander, Conan, or Heaslip. Any option is good. I mean, you can switch things up if you want and play a different combination. I mean, seeing Conan play at number 8 recently for Leinster was phenomenal. Against
Conan.
Yeah, he played for 1 match.
I don't think he's on the.
Oh, is he not?
No, I don't think he's in the squad. Oh no, he is. Jack Clayton. Yeah.
Right,
yeah. Sorry.
I mean,
I just ignored it for some reason. So this is me and my bias, obviously.
Yeah.
I kind of skipped over the first 2 because they've only got 1 caps.
Yeah.
And then I looked at Sean O'Brien, O'Donnell, Omani, and then... So for me, is it Van der Flyer?
Yeah. Van der Flyer.
Because, I mean, I've only been picking him for fantasy, and I've watched a couple of games with him. But I think he's a bolter, personally.
He is.
I think it would be very interesting for him to get picked because he's playing very, very well. And obviously he's used to playing with Heaslip, and that will obviously be a big influence on him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does he take the 7 spot?
I mean, I was just about to say, I mean, you just look at the amount of flankers that are in the extended squad. I mean, it is 7. Yeah. So obviously, you know, when it gets trimmed down, it's not going to be that amount anyway when it comes to the final selection, or at least the final squad when it's trimmed down. So really, you know, you have to ask who gets cut out of that, and that is a ridiculously difficult question. Then other questions such as who's going to be on the bench. I mean, Sean O'Brien really, he hasn't played a full game in a while. Yeah, and exactly. He missed out against Cast anyway, which is a bit of a surprise, but apparently there was still a bit of a niggle. So the question is, do you throw him in the deep end, start him, and then have an option off the bench to replace him at any point? Or do you play someone else and bring on Sean O'Brien as an impact sub? I mean, that's actually been...
It's a big impact.
That's a pretty big impact as well.
That's a big impact. I mean,
and then what combination as well?
The guy who's, you know, he's sat down Richie McCaw, the bloke who... I mean, that's he's got big scalps to his name, and I would be worried as an England fan if he was on the bench and came on. For example, if any of those flankers would start and then Sean O'Brien came on afterwards, you know, that's a worry because they've already been putting up with Heaslip and Conan and whoever else is running the ball, and then suddenly you've got that running at you as well. It's a big problem. Yeah,
but no, I just find it too hard to call anyway at this point in time. I can't even narrow it down to I'd like to see these 3 players play in this combination because it just
I think from a reasonably uninformed view, just from perhaps like a bit of fantasy and a bit of watching Pro 12 highlights, I think Heaslip's going to start at 8.
Oh yeah.
I think it would be bold. I don't know how often he's played there, but I think Stander at 6 and then Flyer at 7. Just because I really like Stander and I want to put him in the team, but I don't think he'll start over Heaslip.
Yeah, no, he generally doesn't in the Ireland squad. And, you know, I don't mind reading comments on the sub about, you know, listen, we want to see Stander over Heaslip. That's perfectly fine. It's when you kind of go beyond Reddit and kind of rugby dedicated places that you'd see a lot of people just with complaints that Stander isn't playing and they're not able to explain why. Heaslip his work rate is phenomenal. Doesn't get injured, plays 80 minutes all the time, does everything right, but these aren't the flashy things. And he generally can have a spectacular game and nobody would notice. So he's not going to be dethroned as Ireland's number 8, at least not this Six Nations. Again, Scotland, Italy, things might get changed around. I mean, I don't think Schmidt is afraid to do that. You look at the
I'm worried for people who try and rotate against Scotland. I think they will come a cropper.
Yeah, I think it really will only be Italy, if at all there be a slight change. But then again, you have to realise that it could come down to points difference, and you want to make sure that you're starting your strongest squad against them. Now, 100%. That said, are you really losing strength when you just swap out Stander for Heaslip at number 8?
Nah, you're not losing much, to be fair.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that rotation will probably still happen. Yeah, I know. I get
that said as well, Schmidt is famous for not liking to change things a lot.
No, that's true. Consistency has won him a fair few games. So I mean that's the back row chat. I think Conor Murray's pretty much pinned on. He's going to be starting.
Yeah. And
if he hasn't had his leg taken off or whatever that he was complaining about with the Glasgow team. Was it Glasgow or Edinburgh? They were trying to dislocate his hip or something. Or his ankle.
Who was it?
I think it was a Scottish team. I'm pretty sure it was Glasgow.
Yeah.
I think it was Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Yeah, they were.
No, it was Glasgow.
Because there were a lot of there was a war of words in that thread about why
where he was taken out on his standing leg.
They were trying to charge. The charge downs were weirdly only hitting his standing leg when he was box kicking, and it did appear to be quite targeted.
Is still legal though.
It is. It's legal. It's just one of those things that when you're a scrum half and when you're a kicker, you wince and just think that could be a career, or it could be a season-ending injury that you
easily.
get there.
Think about, just think
and
about
people,
it.
And people just think, oh, it's legal, so it's fine. Just because something's legal doesn't necessarily mean that
it's right.
Know, yeah.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I was setting it up to say it is legal, but and there was a but coming.
I don't know. I thought you were on a rampage because he was at Munster, eh? That's what I thought.
Oh God, no, sure, I don't mind at all. Six Nations aside for about 30 seconds, I'd love to see Munster actually get some silverware this year. I know I'm probably going to be made fun of for saying that and putting it out there. I'm probably going to say they are in with a good shout of actually both competitions, Pro 12 and European Cup.
So I put Ed made me make a bet about who would be winning. I think Munster would win the Pro 12, and I think it'll be a Munster Sarries final at Europe.
Thanks.
That's my thought.
Do you know what? I think it's going to be Munster Ospreys final in the Pro 12. I mean, for all we know, Leinster could end up again number one in the table, but lose a quarter-final or semi-final, and then just not make it through. But at this point, top three in whatever order they're going to end up on, I think is going to be Ospreys, Munster, Leinster, and whoever then that pans out in the knockout rounds. I just have a feeling it's going to be a Munster Ospreys
I just
final.
think Munster are in that emotional place still, even to this day, where I just can't see anything beating them. They're really in that spot,
I completely agree. I mean, it's been a good season from Leinster. Fantastic rugby, beautiful rugby. Seeing some fantastic development, fantastic new players. Lancaster and Leo Cullen seem to be an unbelievable partnership in the coaching team, and everything just seemed to be going right, apart from Cast, the draw. But I just, where Munster are right now is you just look at them and go, Jesus Christ.
Well, they're pretty brutal, eh? I mean, your win against Montpellier was pretty brutal, but
was that more so us or them is the question.
Combination
of both, but they had their tails between their legs, and then a red card doesn't exactly help. But
so we've got to move on because we've got to make it to England at some point.
we do. I was about to.
So Sexton will be starting. He's obviously got one. I think it's equal with Bigger and Halfpenny in his kick percentages. So
that wouldn't surprise me. It generally kind of
it's a game. It's something that doesn't necessarily get talked about with Sexton's game. They always talk about other things, but he knocks over penalties and conversions for fun. So
he does have that blind spot. Let's not forget that. New Zealand 2013. So
I thought you were going to say tackling French people with his head, but
tackling anybody with his head really these days.
I did. So my cousin was in Dublin for one of the games, and they met Sexton, and they were really, really surprised by how his shoulders kind of disappeared.
Yeah, he doesn't have any shoulders.
He doesn't own shoulders. So I was just thinking the only way he can tackle someone is to use his head.
Was that a Leinster match or an Ireland match?
I think it was. I think they went to watch an Ireland game, and they just saw him I think it was in a shop like 2 days afterwards or something.
But no, he has no shoulders. It's fairly well known. Bigger is. Sexton does have that blind spot. It's just right of the posts. I'd say about 30-35 meters out to the right of the posts.
Okay.
He just tends to miss every time it's from there.
That's his percentage miss.
I can't remember him hitting or getting a conversion really from that blind spot. Now, obviously, within a certain margin of error, there, let's say 25 meters, he gets it, or 40 meters from that position, he gets it. But yeah,
That's
And
interesting.
I mean the scrum half question. No Madigan. So the rumor there is the RFU just does not want to name him, but if needs be, they have no problems calling on him. So
Okay.
just as a point of principle, he wasn't put down on the sheet. He wasn't invited over to train, but
But they will drag him over if Jackson and
exactly.
Sexton go down.
They'll give him
To be honest with you, Paddy Jackson as your backup is
yeah,
fine. That's a very strong backup, let's be honest.
and Joey Carberry should be back in about 3 weeks from now, I think.
Okay.
I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% on that, but look, he has a 100% win rate against New Zealand and Australia. So just saying.
He played 20 minutes, didn't he, and kicked one penalty. He
I think
get points, didn't he?
I think he got was it a conversion and a penalty? I'm not too sure.
He might have got 5 points. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a few, but yeah. I mean, I think he's fantastic. I love watching him play and can't wait to see him develop even more. So, if he gets a look in for, again, a subs position, if that's Paddy Jackson starting and Carberry coming on, or Sexton starting and Carberry coming on, whatever.
So maybe he'll get a run. Maybe Sexton will get rested against Italy and Jackson will run the game.
Yeah, that said, I won't complain if we get to keep him at Leinster during the international window.
A real quick pick. I think Henshaw's you're nailed on. He's going to start.
Yeah.
And Ringrose outside him.
Yeah.
That's your two. So that's pretty much done and dusted
I think
for
that's
me.
It. Well, sorry. That's what we would be for me, but it will be Jared Payne for Schmidt.
Payne's not listed on the...
Oh, is he not? Sorry, what? I've been very...
He is not listed on the...
isn't he injured as well?
Squad list. He must be because
I'm
he's
very
not listed.
out
He's
of
not
touch
even
these
listed
days.
fullback or anywhere else.
Yeah, sorry, I'm out of touch these days.
That's okay.
So
those are the two that I think will start.
So
a nice Leinster connection there and just run riot, I think.
Yeah. So sorry, the kidney injury is still ongoing. So Payne is always just selected anyway if he's fit. Reason being his defence, his organisational defence at number 13 is what Schmidt wants. It works. It's fantastic.
Well, Henshaw's pretty good at that as well, eh?
Henshaw's pretty good, but he'll be at 12 and Ringrose will be at 13. So Ringrose, again, fantastic player. But he, again, he's Jared Payne in defence. We'll put it that way. He's still good.
Yeah.
The selection, I just go for Henshaw at 12 and Ringrose at 13.
Okay. Just quickly, I'm going to go my wings. Who I think they'll pick will be... Oh, will it be Bo? So I think it's between Bo and Earls for one of the wing, and I think Zebo will take the other.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with Zebo as well. He seems to be relying on him quite a lot. I don't see him picking Earls. I think Conway's just in the squad to kind of get him experience again, unless there's a couple of injuries. I don't see him really starting or getting a subs position.
Okay.
Gilroy generally hasn't played a lot with Schmidt, so really it's down to Zebo, Bow and Trimble. And again, depending on injuries, Earls maybe sub, but I'd say Zebo and Bow. But I think the question is it going to be who's fit, who's performing better in training, Bow or Trimble? When it comes down to it.
Yeah, I mean that will be interesting. I think for me, I think obviously Payne out means that you lose that rotation perhaps at fullback.
So
Carney's kind of the fullback.
He would be the fullback, but I see Simon Zebo starting for the reason that he can slot into 15. At wing, but the reason being he can slot into fullback if needed. The question is when it comes to the bench, how is that going to be set up? Because Tiernan O'Halloran, fullback fine. Are you going to have a player who can cover pretty much just one position, or again, he loves his utility players on the bench, so especially for backs. So that's the question is really the bench, who's going to be able to cover wing and fullback. So Let's see, but yeah, starting will be Carney, to the chagrin of a lot of semi-rugby fans.
Okay. We're gonna very quickly, because I still want to have that talk about Wales and their stadium, if we can. We're gonna very quickly wind our way through the England team. Obviously, we've got Hartley and the hooker. Now we're gonna start from the top again.
Yeah.
Hartley hooking, Jamie George on the bench. Pretty same old setup, I think.
Yeah. Let me scroll up to England here.
While you're scrolling, in my opinion, Jamie George is the better hooker, but Hartley is our captain. Hartley will lead the men, and so he will start. And Tommy Taylor has been playing phenomenally for Wasps, so I'm happy. I'm really happy he's in the squad and getting some experience.
I don't know a lot about Tommy Taylor, actually. I do see he only has one cap, though. He's very... I wouldn't say he's very new. He's just... I don't know. He's very good. He's been playing very well in a very good Wasps team, and he's very mobile. Very small, but very powerful bloke. So I'm very happy he's in there. Right. I suppose I'll see him in a couple of weeks' time anyway. The 1st of April.
Well, yeah. Is that the Italy game?
No, that's Leinster Wasps.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You might actually then. Yeah.
So I suppose because I haven't been watching a lot of the Premiership, and I suppose
he's been swapping out with Ashley Johnson in hooker for Wasps, but mainly starting. As far as I'm aware, he's been starting.
Yeah.
Because Ashley Johnson can cover the flanks as well. Yeah. We've then got Dan. So for me, the perfect starting, perhaps would be Dan Cole and Mako. Yeah. With Vunipola, well, obviously with Mako's injury, Joe Marler will come in and do a job. Obviously, because
I thought that Marler was out. No, why do I think that?
In the squad. I know he was injured, but I'm assuming because he's in the squad that he'll be able to play. Whether he plays, I think he'll be available for the Ireland game. Whether he plays the first game, I don't know.
So, look, the Ireland game is the last game anywhere. It's the last weekend anyway, so I think we can take it for granted that he'll be mended by then. The question is, will he get game time before that?
Yeah, I would like Sinclair and Genge. To be honest with you, I'm quite happy with the prop setup that we've got here. Yeah. Dan Cole, huge amount of experience. Genge coming through playing really well. Sinclair also coming through playing really well. Matt Mullen, pretty reliable, to be honest with you. No problems really there. I'm happy with the props. So I think in any combination that Eddie Jones wanted to put them on the pitch, they'll be fine. I think Furlong might have... I don't know if he'll have the edge over Dan Cole. Where does Furlong play? At 1 or 3?
I'm horrible at remembering which.
He might be 3. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
But either way, he will come up against... It'll be a very good test of the front row, which will be interesting, hopefully. The scrum... I actually don't think the scrum has been a hugely influential thing for a while, but when it comes to Ireland-England, the English always love to rub it in that they've got a better scrum. Even if we lose, that they like to have that edge.
Yeah, it hasn't been as... look, there's times where it's better, there's times where it's on par. Wallopy Joe loves bringing up 2012, but, we haven't had a repeat of 2012.
Oh, the man-shaming incident.
Yes.
Yeah, that does get dragged up every so often.
He loves reminding me of that and sending me over the video. But, I wouldn't say it's going to be a walkover for the England scrum.
No.
But it is definitely going to be I think it's going to be interesting seeing the two packs go up against one another.
You look at the locks as well. Obviously, we've got Cruz and Itoje as our first choice. That is a pairing that will stand up against most, and the fact that you can then bring on Launchbury as your... that's a... For me, they might be the 3 best locks in the tournament, and obviously Ireland have fantastic locks as well.
It's going to be another...
It's a big clash.
How is the line out for England?
I think they missed one line out last year. There was a ridiculous stat about lineouts. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
but there weren't many missed at all from the English.
I'll actually give you a ridiculous statistic there that I probably should have brought up while we were talking about Ireland's front row.
All right, yeah.
Which would have been very relevant when you asked me, how the players are. Leinster has lost 2 scrums in both competitions all season, and that was until recently it was only 1. So
really?
Leinster's scrum has been dominant,
Pretty
our line-out has been performing well as well. I can't think of the line-out statistics, but again, it's traditionally been an area where Ireland and Leinster and Munster have performed quite well. So let's see.
That's another big clash then, really, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we're looking across the board at most of these positions, and we're seeing a big clash. I actually think that due to injuries, where Ireland will have the edge, and people won't really like this, but I think they'll have the edge in the flankers, in the back row.
That's a big calling.
Because Nathan Hughes, he's only got 3 caps, will be the main pick at 8. He's liable to lapses in judgment, I would say would be the easiest way to describe it. I'm not saying he's a very good player, but he's liable to small lapses in judgment when he's offside or when to play the ball, etc.
Yeah.
Small things like that can change a game. Tom Wood, not our first pick 7, but will probably start at 7.
I mean, he's generally quite a good player, though.
Very good player.
He had a shocking game against Leinster. Probably, out of the entire 15, you probably have picked him as the, say top 2, if not top 3 players on the field. But he had a shocker. And then he wasn't picked the second time around, which was, probably resting players for, the Premiership. But I'd still rate him anyway.
Yeah, he's a very good player, but he's not our top tier first choice, which is a shame. But we can't stand by that. He's a very good player, and he's got 45 caps for his country, so he's obviously been around the block. Haskell hasn't got a lot of game time at the moment because obviously he's been injured.
Yeah,
similar to Sean O'Brien, though, to be fair. Injured for a long time and now just coming back. And then we've got Clifford, who's injured and coming back. Harrison, who famously got substituted off at the 50th minute mark or something, or maybe even earlier than that.
Yeah.
Might have been before half time. Anyway, he got subbed off because he wasn't performing very well.
So I see what you mean. Yeah. What about number 8 cover? Anyway, can anyone else slot in?
Well, we would have to probably.
Let's
Harrison,
just say
Harrison's played 8, I think.
Right, because my question really is: let's say it's Ireland-England, and worst thing happens, Hughes is injured after 15 minutes. I mean, how would you reconcile?
How would we go
that?
about? So Clifford and Harrison have both played 8 before. What would I do in that situation?
Bet on Ireland.
Oh, good God. We would actually. I think we genuinely would be in trouble if Hughes gets injured. I wouldn't say that Harrison and Clifford at 8 would be a problem. It just wouldn't be strong enough, perhaps, against a Heaslip, Stander, Flyer, Sean O'Brien back row. Do you know what I mean? It's not a weak back row, but it's not quite at that level. I would love to see Clifford on at 8, though, actually. If I had my choice, I'd put Clifford at 8 and see how he did.
Yeah.
It would be an absolute baptism of fire, but maybe he'd come out the other side.
Well, that's what I mean. That's you look at low capped players, and your first thought is always, that's a bit of a worry. But to be honest, some players tend to step up and do well, and it really depends on who's around them at the same time. But you never know until it happens.
Would be. It's interesting you bring that up. I mean, would Haskell go to 8? Maybe. That's a call for Eddie Jones, maybe. But
surely
I could see Haskell maybe going to 8.
It depends who's on the bench as well for the back row.
Sure. We've obviously got Atoje could go to 6, and then Haskell could rotate round to 8, and there would be some sort of. We'd bring Launchbury on or something. So we could rotate flankers and locks a little bit. There would be a way that England would adapt to it. it just wouldn't be ideal. And I can see. I mean, you've picked Hughes' injury, and that like my injury for Best. There is a big flaw, and there would need to be some rotation. We don't have a backup 8 by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I keep saying it. Harrison and Clifford. Harrison has played 8 before. They have, but they've obviously not necessarily done it at international level. So,
and as well, I mean, no squad is final. Anybody can be called up last minute. 10 minutes to go before the match. Just pick up the phone and say, "Come on down to Twickenham."
It's like Josh Beaumont or
well, yeah. So I mean, you know, unless this back row combination stays roughly the same for England, and there are no injuries throughout the first or performance problems for the first 6 weeks, then in week 7, you know, and again, if the names are the exact same here, whoever is picked, then you end up with this bizarre injury situation to a number 8. Then and only then will we have this situation of, oh God, what will you do? Who will you rotate around to, and what's going to happen? So between now and then, honestly, anything can happen. Anybody can be called up. Anybody can be dropped. So I suppose looking at the names that we have in front of us, that's what you see. That's what we discussed. But if that's how it is in 8 weeks time at this point, then I'll be surprised.
Yeah, it's gonna. I tell you, the back row for England's gonna be interesting. It's interesting how quickly it all falls apart when Robshaw and Billy are gone.
Yeah.
And that's a big vacuum, and obviously people pinned a lot on Robshaw for losing at the World Cup, but that is a presence in a team. Obviously, the old captain.
He has done quite well since.
Oh, he's bounced back. He's absolutely. I don't even think he did that badly at the World Cup, but
no, it was just the decision. People
just the
look
decision.
At it. Same with obviously Lancaster.
Well, he's doing well for you guys, eh?
Exactly.
And I think him and Cullen as a combination, he's quite nice. Brings up the nice little. What's it called? The feeling, I suppose.
Well, the funny thing is, he's the experienced coach. He's called himself in press conferences a senior coach. Nobody has called him head coach. Nobody's called him director of rugby, or nobody's called Cullen director of rugby, whatever. So really, you have Cullen, who's come through, who lives and breathes Leinster, knows all the players, knows how to be, I suppose, little shit in the in the scrum with the dark arts and the line out as well. He knows the players in the academy, and then he can take care of some of the administrative shit. Excuse my French. And then Lancaster seems to be kind of going in and doing the coaching and the training a bit more. In that respect. So it's a good division of labour that they've got going, and a good relationship they have with each other and the players and the setup there.
Clearly working.
So yeah, I mean,
it was never an issue for Lancaster not being a nice person.
I don't think he was a bad coach at all. I think issues with selection weren't necessarily his fault. He wasn't the only person to select players, and that was, generally a panel decision or influence from other people in the RFU. But look, I suppose we're getting a bit distracted here. But
we are. I will defer to you, because I think the English backline is such an easy pick that you can probably run through yourself.
Well, Karen Young's. Look. You're going to have one or the other anyway. Both are going to go through the squad and be picked on the day. You can pick either. I don't see really a huge problem.
I'm pretty sure Youngs will start. I'm on the 90%. I'm 90% sure Youngs will start. He's been playing well, and the two tries that we scored against South Africa were a Young special. So
playing well. Can you say that about anybody at Leicester Tigers at the moment?
Ooh,
I'm sorry to say it. I mean,
no, you're right. You're right.
They have been.
I think Freddie Burns has been playing well. Freddie Burns has been playing well. But, there you go. That's my one player that I can at least say.
Well, let me put it this way. I'm just saying it because they were nilled twice. I mean, in rugby, not scoring a single point is insane, and twice in the European competition. Sorry to all the Tigers fans out there. I like the team. but which probably makes me one of very few people.
Well, nowadays they've lost some of that
it's just insane
edge
what's
that
happening.
people didn't like about them.
It's just insane what has happened. I mean, Leinster went through a rough period as well, but if you're going on current form on club level, it's a difficult decision to make because yes, good player, but is
It's similar. So I mean, as we move through, obviously we've got Ford. Ford will be 10, Farrell 12, and then Joseph and the wings will be Noel and Watson, I think. But the thing you were talking about there, whether they don't play very well at club, I would say Mike Brown kind of fits into that. He's not amazing at club. He doesn't really set the world on fire. Harlequins haven't particularly played well. They haven't won an away game yet, I don't think.
Really? Where's Wallopy Joe when you need him?
Don't think they've won an away game yet. But when he turns up for England, he turns up 100%, and he does play very well.
It's what you'd call the Welsh effect.
The Welsh effect. Why the region's no good, and then suddenly
god awful teams. Now, okay, I say that.
Well, not the Ospreys this year.
I was about to say I say that, but Scarlets did well last year and have gone toe to toe with Toulon and Saracens this year, beating one and drawing with the other. And in fairness, I think they should have won.
Saris were happy.
Exactly. And then Ospreys again. They're number one at the moment in Pro 12. So I'd say that it was a bit tongue in cheek. I didn't mean it as as dismissive
just
as that.
Just a huge anti-Welsh bias.
I like Wales and the teams and the fans, but it just frustrates me when you see a team like Cardiff, fantastic players by all respects. They should be thereabouts in the top 4 or 5. Never in the last 80 years I can't remember. So now someone will probably butt in and correct me there, but
that's reasonably surprising to us. But
and then they come together as the Welsh team, and they go and win a Grand Slam.
It does hurt me the way Wales play, and obviously maybe Howley will change that, and but we will see. We can't. I don't want to talk too much about Wales because obviously neither of us are.
Exactly. Then we'll just
Welsh.
be hurting on Wales, and nobody here can defend them. So
because people might complain that we've skipped over the wing and centre, reasonably quickly. I mean, I think the 10-12 combination, Ford and Farrell, that's pretty much set in stone. Joseph is one of the high-flying centres at the moment, scoring tries for fun. Obviously, the fight for wing, everybody's pretty much saying Nolan Watson. May has a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Rightly so. May has a lot of fans. He's absolutely magic. I've said it consistently, though, that I do not want him making a high-pressure decision. If it comes down to whether Johnny May will make the right decision on a rugby pitch, then England will lose. Not because of any inherent ability, but there's just something there's not quite right about the way May perhaps responds to things on a rugby pitch.
Under pressure, you mean?
Under pressure is the key, and it's not for lack of trying at all, but there's just there's moments where you look at what Johnny May does for Gloucester and you just think, why has that happened?
Wow, I didn't realise Yard was that young.
Yep, he's my age. Yep.
24. I didn't think that at all. I thought he'd be around.
I'd run around with him. I don't think that Eddie Jones likes him.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll sit on the bench. Personally, I think that Daly will be on the bench. I think he's almost guaranteed a bench spot. And it's whether Tio or maybe May. I just think that because Daly's so useful, he could be a wing replacement as well. I'm not sure. If he goes for the split where there's only 2 backs on the bench, then I don't know if May makes the bench even.
I mean, I liked Tio, but you always want to look for a utility as well. Can he move around or not? And really, he's just a centre.
He's very limited.
So
He is playing very well for Worcester recently, though.
Sorry, does he play 12 or 13 for you?
He has been. Where was he playing for Worcester? I think he's pretty much at 12. I think what would happen is if we had to take Ford off, or Farrell, then Daly's not really a 12. He can play 12, but he's more of a 13 winger fullback.
Yeah.
So I think Tio as the option for that 12 position would be more flexible with him on the bench, and him and Daly then cover all the positions. Because Daly covers all the others, Tio covers 12, and then whoever was playing 12 goes to 10.
If I remember correctly, he was 13 for us. We wanted him to play at 12 though, but that's where he was slotted in, and they never changed it. So he can play 12 and 13.
He might have been 13 for Worcester. I'm not sure.
So looking at it, if really you can only play one or two positions, and you have to select someone, usually you'd go for the person who plays in one position to start. And have the utility player on the bench anyway. You don't know what's going to happen during the first 60 minutes. Is someone going to be injured? How are you going to swap things around? So hence why Madigan generally always was on the bench. But that's if he starts. I don't know how. I don't know where he is in the pecking order really for England centres.
Tio won't start. I don't. Yeah. Unless he has an absolutely sublime training experience.
Who did he play against, actually?
Who did he play against?
Yeah.
He got some caps, didn't he?
Yeah. He has 3 caps, and I do remember seeing him in white. In
the Autumn Internationals.
Who was it?
Did he get on again? I think he may have got on against Australia. Late game against Australia, he might have got on.
Yeah.
I'm reasonably sure he may have done that. I honestly can't remember. The man to ask would be Wallopy Joe. Ed knows all the little anything England or Quins, niggly like that.
Yeah.
Just ask Ed. Sadly, no, I can't find his caps either. It's not
Did he?
Not an easy find.
Did he play against? Was it Uruguay? I think.
Oh, he might have got on. No, Slade and was it Tio? No, Slade. I think it was a Slade-Burgess combination against Uruguay.
Oh, maybe he only. I don't know. Listen, maybe I'm talking out of my hole here, but
I'm not sure when the transition happened. It does say 2016. He wasn't in the 2015 World Cup. So my next thing. So that's a roundup of the English and Irish squads and our thoughts on it. I think.
So Ireland's to win by 9.
Ireland to win by 9. I think it will be. I want to say it's going to be high scoring.
No.
I think it will be 33-26 to England.
Wow.
That would be my thoughts.
That's big. An away win. I think home advantage will just barely get it for us, but England to win the championship.
I don't think England can sit back and defend against Ireland in Ireland. That's the problem. I don't think just like we couldn't sit back and defend in Australia, we can't do that in Ireland either. So I think they will have to come out and score points, lots of points. I don't think we can sit on a 12-0 victory sort of thing.
Or a 10-9 victory.
Yeah, I mean,
like
I don't
previously.
I don't think England can do that. So, I mean, we'll see, but I think they're going to have to come out.
I'm not going to go ahead and say the score, but I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be double digits win for Ireland, as in points difference.
I think I would agree. If Ireland win, it will be a low point scoring game.
Yeah, I'm thinking just anywhere between 5 and 9 points. The difference between Ireland if we go ahead and win. Would Ireland go out and be defensive? I don't know. Hard to call. I
don't know
really.
if you will. You might grind out the victory and just let Sexton kick the points. And I think that would be a smart thing to do at home. Just let that happen.
Well, look again. If your back line or back row, is going to be as weak as you think, then Ireland could front up there. That's it.
I think it's weak in comparison, not necessarily weak as in.
Relatively.
It's weak
speaking,
in comparison.
Sorry.
Yeah.
even weak to what England could and normally field anyway. Sorry, is what I mean. But so I'm just thinking out loud here, and I mean, our scrum and line out has been performing well. Provinces, at least Leinster and Munster, have been doing extremely well in the scrum and line out as well. Breakdown has been a huge focus for Ireland, and again for Leinster and Munster. So I just see it's going to be some unbelievable match, but I don't know.
I look forward to that back row smash, actually, because looking at it, I mean, if Haskell, Hughes and Wood are on the pitch at the same time, that's still a big back row. That still does a lot of damage. Yeah. So I mean, it will be a phenomenal clash. My
question is, can Ireland hold on with Sexton? I mean, Sexton went off against Cast, and backline kind of lost a bit of cohesion. They were fairly young in comparison. Now, in fairness, their work rate was fantastic. Just again, sometimes decision making and small errors. So again, it will Sexton get injured again, because it seems to be happening quite often. How will Paddy Jackson hold up if that happens? That's if again. There's so many ifs and buts and whatever. What could be. That really, I suppose, at this point, anything is just pure conjecture. We just don't know. So let's just see.
It will be interesting.
Closer to the weekend itself, we'll probably know more, and we'll be able to kind of analyse in a bit more detail and make some nice predictions, because at the moment, haven't a clue. That's essentially just a long way of saying I don't know. It's a pretty big call to make.
In 5 minutes, I'm now switching the conversation completely over to the whether Wales should be allowed to control their own roof.
Yeah.
Well, I've put my thoughts on Reddit. I can read my comment, I suppose, out. But I was just wondering what your thoughts were on the whole Welsh not being allowed to choose to have their roof shut.
Well, look, okay, it's their home ground. The argument is surely you should be able to do what you want at your own home ground. That said, it is the only home stadium to have a roof, and that is a bit more of an advantage. Is what you would assume.
It gives you an edge, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I've never experienced it. I've only been to the Millennium Stadium Principality, while it was open, and fantastic atmosphere. What everybody who has experienced it closed has told me is it is unbelievable. It is a cauldron. It is intimidating. So I've never played in front of 70,000 people. I've never done it with a roof closed as well, and we know the Welsh love to sing and cheer. So is it a psychological boost? Yeah, most likely probably is.
Oh yeah.
Is it one that will, strike a killer or a killing blow to the opposition? I don't think so. So a bit more edge for home advantage, yes. Absolute dominance, I don't think so. Should they be allowed to control it? That's difficult to say, because surely you want it to be equal for everybody, and there needs to be a reason for it. So again, usually bad weather is the reason for closing it, which is understandable.
That's the compromise that they've ended up with that as the.
So should they be able to just decide we're going to close it? Well then, if that's the case, surely every single match will be closed. What if we could say they have a specific number of times they can choose it per year? Is that maybe another solution? I don't know.
Whether side you then have a select. I think the problem is that for me, I mean, I've had this conversation.
Yeah.
And the comment I made essentially was that I don't want a cookie cutter stadium. So I don't want every stadium around the world to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Cardiff shut the roof, and it creates this cauldron, a wall of noise, of atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal. I just think back to I've watched or gone onto YouTube and searched clips for Fields of Athenry sung at Croke Park or in Lansdowne Road.
Yeah.
And I've looked up clips of the Welsh singing so happily and loudly at Six Nation games, and that atmosphere is absolutely phenomenal. And if from an outside perspective you see and hear these kinds of atmospheres that have been created, that's a huge advertisement. I just think open the roof, it just lessens that idea that Cardiff is a cauldron.
As when I was over in Cardiff, I think I said it, I don't know how many times to Welsh fans there. It's like rugby is my religion, and that would make Cardiff Mecca. So going there, and I only experienced it while it was open. I'd love to go back while it was closed, because it was unbelievable when it was open.
It's something. It's something that us fans will sit in a bar and go. I mean, you travel to Cardiff and then you talk about it. Don't. I mean, the problem is I don't want to get into the situation where you travel to Twickenham and then you go, yeah, they played Jerusalem a bit, and that's about it. And Swing Low, Sweet Chariot sung
47
quite
times.
a lot. Yeah, and that's the atmosphere of Twickenham. Why are we trying to make everything? And Murrayfield's much the same. They'll sing Flower of Scotland. It's nice. The stadium's quite good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. But it's not. There's nothing inherently Scottish apart from they'll play the odd thing and there'll be the songs and the atmosphere of the crowd. Whereas I think Cardiff have that. The roof shut. That's Cardiff. Suddenly you're there and you're in the middle of it and you're fighting against the Welsh and you're trying to beat them. That to me is part of just winning.
I mean, as a fan, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you'd ideally like to go up against strong opposition and win, as opposed to going up against a weak opposition. What if Ireland went up against an All Blacks team that was poisoned in their hotel room? Would that be a proper win? Would we be happy that we finally beat them and that was the reason why? A bit tongue-in-cheek, of course, my comment, but I think it still stands. You want to go up against strong opposition and win, and if that's, I mean, look, let's be honest, Twickenham is Ireland hasn't won there since 2000, I can't remember, 10?
So it is a fortress in some cases.
Yeah, it would be about 2010, I think, was the last time we won there, if even. So, I think of Twickenham as, oh God, we have to go and play there. This is going to be difficult. And, obviously, Ireland can stand up to it, and we almost won a couple of years back.
Dropped out.
Yeah, it was 10. Did I? Hello?
No, you're back now.
Okay,
don't worry.
Right, there we go.
It was just the internet.
I think it was back in would have been 2014 or 13, where we lost 10. It would have been 14, 10-9, I think. In Twickenham, so you want those to stand up to the occasion, where this is the big match and almost hopefully win, but being thereabouts. As a fan, you definitely want to go and experience Cardiff with the roof closed. I've been there when it was open. I really want to go when it's closed. I don't care who they're playing against, but the problem is, purely from that fan's perspective, if it's closed every single game, because they can decide
they're
when
playing
to close
indoor
it.
rugby, yeah.
Yeah, well, if they can decide when to close it, then surely they would close it all the time. No.
Well, there's it's Dunedin, isn't it? Where it might be the Highlanders' home ground, the Cake Tin. It's got a permanent roof.
Does it?
It's got a permanent roof, yeah. So they will play under the roof the whole time in New Zealand. And I think if that's been allowed and that's kind of done, then it's kind of like, well, if you've got a retractable roof, great, you can choose. If it's nice weather, you can open it up. But I do agree with you that it feels weird saying, oh, we'll play with the roof shut, but it doesn't. I don't know how much it actually affects. It will obviously affect the noise and all of this, but the game of rugby is still being played on that size pitch with the balls and the grass and everything. It's still the same game.
Well, yeah. The question comes down to, does it give an advantage? Yes. Is it as big? Is it a huge advantage? I don't think so. It's an advantage, but not a huge one.
I think it's a home advantage. In my head, I'm having it as a home advantage, and I'm having it as this amazing it's the Cardiff experience, and it's
exactly.
great, you know.
So, but then the question just then becomes, it's basically, let's just call it, if home advantage is, a bonus, then this is home advantage 1.5. We'll put it that way, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's as big as people say, but it is an extra advantage.
It's an extra edge.
So the question...
I'm trying to think of an equivalent. It'd be like overwatering the grass to make it a bit boggier. Or...
but that's gamey, right?
That's
Whereas
even more because the game pitch has changed.
I don't think that this is gamey in any way. I think it adds to the atmosphere. It makes it a bigger occasion. It's kind of laying down a challenge, i.e. Haka might be a good comparison.
Yeah.
Right, so
with the Haka, and this interests me as well, obviously this is even further off point, but the Haka happens, and then if the Haka's been done away, most teams then play either their national anthem, or England play Jerusalem, and they kind of try and take the sting out of it. They try and calm everything down a little bit.
Ireland's doesn't.
Ireland don't. Okay, Ireland don't. But that's the Irish choice.
We actually let it. I think we're the only country on the planet that goes dead silent, doesn't play music, doesn't sing, doesn't cheer, doesn't shout. You can hear a pin drop if it wasn't for the Haka.
Really? We don't play Jerusalem over it, but we'll play as soon as it's over. Jerusalem will suddenly just be on.
Oh no, exactly. Like, I know you don't play it over it, but you have sung Swing Low before. And Scotland has played Loch Lomond over it.
Yeah.
And Wales just stares at them.
Yeah, the Welsh,
and everybody's shouting. So,
but it's that sort of thing. Like everyone, because it's a similar argument. Everyone says that the Haka gives them an edge because it's psychological. Other people say that Haka tires them out, so it's not even an edge.
Yeah,
and there's all these arguments. It's like, but the game of rugby is then played after that moment.
Yeah, so
it's on the pitch.
So again, the ultimate question then becomes: is this a decision that Wales should be able to make themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Which, in my opinion, if it is such an advantage, surely they would then do it every single match.
They would do it all the time,
right? Which, in my opinion, from a fan's perspective, would kind of cheapen it, because you want to kind of go to a match where it's closed and it's not every single match, and that makes that whatever one you're at all the more better.
It would be interesting. So, for example, it's open. Okay, it's still Cardiff. It's still great, but then you'll go into that 1 or 2 game that is shut. You're like, this is the one. They've shut the roof. This is the big one. Grand Slam deciders, Triple Crown deciders, stuff like that. The big clash of the year or whatever. Maybe that would be the better option. I don't know.
Let's say, for example, the England match it happens to be pissing rain, and that's the one where it has to be closed. Then fantastic. Then that just makes it an unbelievable match. My question is, if there's bad weather, does the opposition team still need to be consulted?
I'm assuming yes. I think they are.
I would have thought no. I would have thought if it's like, I would have thought if everything is perfectly fine and there's no reason to close it, then both coaches or unions need to discuss it out and say, look, should we close it? Yes or no?
I think the discussion can happen, but I still, as far as I can see, people are saying that they still don't get the choice.
Because ever since that England match,
something weird. Anyway,
ever since that England match, 33, whatever it was, whatever England scored, 33-3, wasn't it? Ever since that match, I think every team has become a bit skeptical of closing the roof. Hey, can we close the roof? No.
Yeah.
We can't.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. We're leaving it open. Thank you. I think that's why it's a bit. So that's why I think it would be a bit unfortunate if they don't have look, if it's raining, if there's bad weather, I think they should be able to make the choice on them by themselves. If there's no mitigating circumstances for it to be closed, then it needs to be discussed out between the two coaches, teams, captains, whoever makes the decision.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, most likely going to be a no. So, I think I need to run.
Yep, you need to leave, don't you? So that's fine.
I meant to leave half an hour ago.
Music is playing. Harble's running out the door. He's got work things.
No.
Are you just going?
I'm
You just got coffee? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I'm meeting friends in an office down the road.
Oh yeah, you're making connections.
Exactly.
You're making connections. Right. The music will be playing at this point. Do.
That horrible music, yeah.
I'm gonna apologise here on the pod for. I think we missed a week. I'm gonna blame Ed because he's not even here today, so he can't defend himself. It's Ed's fault.
Oh, you can blame me too. I'm never.
And Harwell. To be honest with you, it was a mixture of. I had a very busy work week and just had to get stuff done. Harwell's been busy with dealing with life, and Ed's obviously had the same issue, so we've all been all over the shop. But we came together today to discuss England-Ireland, and I think we've done that pretty well. So yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Ireland Grand Slam.
And the Grand Slam. Ireland Grand Slam, no. Oh, Christ, if Wales win a Grand Slam, though, I will be so much pain.
What about if France does?
I don't really care about the French, I'll be honest with you. I mean,
it's Scotland.
Fred, I will say that to Fred, but it's just like, it's the French. It's the cliche that I actually don't like, but it's just the French. I don't know, they're mad. Sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it's terrible. I have no idea what's going to happen with the French.
Yeah, let's see.
Right, I'm going to stop my recording.
Cool. I'll stop recording.
Adios.
I'll probably have to send this to you later though, because I'm already a million hours late. So I click stop. Yeah.